Hello, my name is Kevin Goss. I will be reading from my book, The Immortal Happerstadt. It is a romantic fantasy. It was published not so long ago. This will be part of a series of videos where I will be reading select portions of my book. To read the whole chapters or the entire book, there will be a link available in the description and you can purchase the book. I'm going to start in Chapter 1. The story is told from the perspective of Hamish Lee Happerstadt. He's the protagonist. He is telling the story, albeit in book form, to his son Braden. At any rate, where I begin, Hamish Lee has just spoken of his mother's death. Then she was gone, and it was a hard thing for me. Still, somehow I managed to go on. Even of late, I still wish I could see her again. I felt in my heart that I ought to be doing something different, ought to be somewhere else. My life was not quite right. I needed to reorder it, but I had not the first idea how. Nevertheless, I sought to cope with the pain, my loss, in unhealthy ways. It is why it should not be surprising that for a time I had come to be involved with one dreadful rascal by name of Daxon Jander. To say that Daxon was my lover would be an overstatement. It was a cold, so-called friendship with benefits. It was mostly Daxon who benefited. I never received any real gesture of affection from Daxon. To say that Daxon made my life a living hell would be an understatement. When Daxon did not throw me bones, he treated everything that I owned as if it was his. Daxon milked me for money, going so far as to terrorize me and hound me so that I would give him as much money as soon as I could. Then came a day when I vowed that it would end. I was waiting for Daxon to come knocking at my door again. I would bash the bastard's head in like a melon. Daxon never came again to my door. I was in no way prepared for who did. Before I tell you about that evening when my adventures began, I must quickly tell you about that afternoon. It was a warm spring day with a light breeze. I could not enjoy the day because I was cooped up in my shop behind the counter. I was counting coins from the day's sales. It wasn't much, but still it was best to keep on top of things. Suddenly I heard the bell in my shop ring. Irving Kaleidaco had entered the shop. He was one of the few friends I had in those days. I can still see him now. He was in his usual hat and vest, wearing loose-fitting trousers and his weathered old boots. He was not quite what I would call attractive. Still, with his black hair and brown eyes and trim beard, he cut quite the figure. He was a merchant and was often traveling, sometimes even at sea. He was rumored to have one of the largest farms in the Shire, which had lots of cattle on it. I did not know much about him in those days. Yet again, I must say he was one of my few real friends then. He had come back with the star charts that I had lent him. I say lent, but I did charge him a sizable deposit. He held the charts in his hands, a bundle of rolled-up scrolls. "Hello, Mr. Happerstadt," he said, pronouncing my last name correctly. "I've returned with the star charts, as I said I would." He walked up to the counter where I had been counting coins and laid the scrolls down. "Thank you very much, Irving," I said, "but it's just Hamish Lee to my friends. Though I am glad to see those charts back. They're rare and expensive. They were purchased by my old master years before he transferred this shop to me." "You know," he said, "one thing you and I share in common is each of us has a last name others have trouble with sometimes. Take my last name of Kaleido. People keep wanting to call me Calico, after the cat. People don't know that the S in my name is pronounced sh, I said, or that the D in my name is silent. After a while, you just stop correcting people. One of my sisters has a first name. People get it wrong all the time. It lacks a certain letter for them to be pronouncing it the way that they do. Oh, well, people will talk the way they will, Irving replied. I don't mind you calling me by my first name instead of Mr. Kaleidokos, as we have known one another and done business for so long. Aye, business, I said wistfully. Often, though, I wish I were far from here, doing something else, something more meaningful, more fulfilling. I wish I were somewhere where I could attain a greater measure of respect. Don't let this town or the Shire get you down, Irving said. People are the way they are, yet I do foresee that someday you will come up in the world. It will happen. I raised my eyes and frowned at this. No, he said, I really do mean it. I believe it. Change will come. It will come when you don't expect it. In any case, on my way here I felt something change in the wind. If you say so, I said skeptically. I do say so, he said. Anyway, don't let people trouble you. I must go now. I have other business to attend to. I almost started to blurt out about my problems with Dax and Jander, but thought better of it. Farewell, I said. May good fortune go with you. Just like that, he was swiftly out of the shop. I decided to close early for the day. Then it was evening. I was sitting at my kitchen table eating dinner. My kitchen was in the back of my bookshop. There came a knock at the back door. My heart began racing. Breathing hard, I looked at my kitchen counter where my mallet lay. It was there, ready for such a time. If Dax and Jander survived, he would be back in the Shire jail where he belonged. I raced over to my kitchen counter and seized up the mallet, rushing to the back door. Go away, Daxon, I shouted through the door. If you don't go, or if you come back, I'll take this hammer to your head, and then I'll go fetch the constable. I'm not Daxon Jander, said a quiet voice that was older and deeper than Daxon. He's a guest of his lordship the sheriff at Coe's Castle. He hangs on Wednesday. What did he do then? I asked more calmly. Apparently he robbed and assaulted one of the sheriff's tax collectors, the voice said. Why do you tell me all this then? I asked. So that you will know I am a friend and will let me in, said the voice. How do I not know it isn't some trick of Daxon's? I asked. You don't know, said the voice. You'll just have to trust me. Hamishly Happerstadt, I gather you are a scholar of the old religion. I know a great deal about that subject. Also, I know about elves, having had dealings with them for years. Well, I'm intrigued, I answered. I don't say I believe you, but I'll let you in. Be careful, though. I'm armed with a mallet. I unlocked and opened the door. The person I saw at the door was someone I would never in my life have expected to see. There stood a strange old man who walked into the room. He had a long white beard and white hair and wore a blue hat, a blue robe, a belt, a sword, and a pair of boots. He wielded a staff in his hand. His keen eyes stared back at me with calculation. No senility or infirmity was there, this elderly gentleman. I suppose you claim to be a wizard? I asked. I'm sometimes called that, answered the old man. My name is Cargros. I am a friend of your father's. I find that highly doubtful, I said. Come in just the same. Without any further prompting, the old enchanter walked over the other side of the kitchen table. He stood there waiting patiently. I walked back over to my side of the table. "I can fix you a plate if you like," I said. "There isn't much here, but you're welcome to it." "No, thank you. I've already eaten," said Cargros. "May I sit down?" "By all means," I said, sitting myself down shortly, followed by the wizard. "What brings you to my door at this hour?" "How much do you know? How much has your father told you about his past?" he asked Cargros. "Have you ever wondered where he goes when he disappears for those long journeys?" "I don't know much about his past," I said. "I suppose that he journeys out to get supplies for the farm. Sometimes it is for hunting or fishing. As for his past, I only know that he came from northeast of Ashwayland. I never actually asked him. I never gave it much thought." "Nor care to, I expect," said the wizard gravely. "You don't wonder about his life before Bodnan? Never mind." "So what are you getting at?" I asked. "I'm about to tell you things about your father few know," Cargros said. "I'm afraid I won't care for it, but I'm listening. For a start, your father's real name is not Granbold," said Cargros. "He is Rashand. He's the heir to the throne of Ashwayland." At this statement, I broke down laughing. "It gets better," said Cargros. "He is the notorious outlaw and rebel who goes by the alias of Roadheart."